It started with a hum, that kind of mechanical buzz that doesn't belong out here, especially not in the slow gold hush of a Texas evening. I was just sitting on my porch boots, propped on the railing, coffee mug cooling in my hand, letting the day bleed out of me, thinking for the millionth time that this peace and open sky wasn't a luxury, but a necessity. My land stretches out in every direction, pastures and cattle stitched under that huge blue bowl. And quiet, real, honest quiet, was the main reason I ever left my FAA job and started this ranch life in the first place. But that buzz sharp as a needle cut through everything. I set my mug down slow, tracking the sound until I caught sight of a jet black drone no bigger than a turkey vulture skimming just above my barn. Way too low, too purposeful. It hovered for a beat, almost like it was sniffing the air, then swooped down and shot over my northern fence line, gone as fast as it came. Drones aren't exactly rare these days. You get the odd teenager chasing clouds or city folks hoping to film a sunset, but this one was different. This one was hunting. And if there's one thing I can't stand, it's being hunted or watched on my own land. So I walked the fence jaw tight, and inside the barn, my calves were spooked, one even bleeding from a nick on its leg. That was all the proof I needed. Somebody was flying that thing way too close, and it wasn't by accident. I combed through the grass, found a busted carbon fiber blade half buried in the dirt, still warm from the sun. That night I dusted off my old FAA gear, because habits like that, they die hard. I stayed up rigging receivers, triangulating signals, and by sunrise, I had a good idea where that drone came from, a dusty dirt road hugging my north property line. There, parked like two overfed buzzards, was a black SUV with California plates. Outstep these twin sisters, Sila and Susan. I'd later learn mid-30s, platinum blondes, squeezed into leather jackets, looking like they'd melt if they touched a fence post. One was tinkering with a big aluminum drone case. The other held a remote like it was a TV clicker. They didn't see me until I cleared my throat. "You ladies aware you're flying over private land?" I asked, voice low and level. Sela straightened her shades, gave me a stare. "Excuse me, it's public airspace." Her sister snorted. "We're not landing on your roof, cowboy. Ever heard of the First Amendment? Ever heard of Title 14, Part 107? I shot back. Nothing but blank stares. FAA drone regs, you're under 400 feet in a restricted livestock zone, not registered for commercial flight. Susan just rolled her eyes. "We're influencers, okay, drone queens. We film for our channel. Our fans love it." "Yeah, well, tell that to my calf or my fence. Maybe try being less territorial," Sela quipped. I took a breath. No point escalating. Yet. "Consider this your first warning." I said, "Don't fly over my land again." They exchanged this smirk, and then Susan, cocky as ever, fired up a drone right there in front of me. It shot up like a hornet, spun over my head, then zipped away, their laughter echoing after it. They had no clue who they were messing with. That night, it wasn't just one drone. 3 of them filled the air, buzzing the field, spooking my horses, skimming the barn. I stepped out with a flashlight, but they just rose higher, taunting me. Next few days, it was the same story every evening. Those twins parked just out of reach, launching their swarm. Sometimes I'd see them sitting in folding chairs, sipping energy drinks, watching their screens like it was movie night. The drones got braver, swooping lower, faster. I called the sheriff. He shrugged, said, "Unless the drone lands on my property." His hands were tied. "Drone laws are a gray area here," he said. "Well, not for me." Day 6, one drone dove so low it nearly clipped my head. Susan's cackling carried on the wind. That night I lost a chicken neck, snapped maybe by the drone, maybe by panic. I tried being reasonable, left a laminated printout of the FAA rules on their windshield, my badge number at the bottom. Next day I find a note on my gate sky. Daddy's got rules written in glitter marker with a pink plastic drone glued to it. That was it. Gloves were off. That night I stood by my barn staring up at the latest drone blinking red in the tree line. I could hear their laughter from the SUV daring me. So I went inside, pulled out my old flight jacket and gear. If they wanted to play in the skies, I'd show them what real airspace authority looked like. By morning, they'd amped it up, 3 drones, custom-painted one trailing a banner, Drone Queens. I stood at my fence, arms folded, just watching. This wasn't about footage anymore. This was war. I caught Sela up on the SUV roof filming the chaos, Susan leaning back, grinning. That's when I realized they didn't care about YouTube. Not really. They wanted to break me. The first time I reported them through official FAA channels, it was by the book. Uploaded drone footage from my trail cams documented all the livestock stress and damage, made it airtight. But paperwork moves slow. Revenge, though, that's fast. They started flying at odd hours, afternoons, nights, even 3 a.m. I woke one night to a drone hovering outside my bedroom window, blinking like it was scanning my thoughts. I stepped outside in my undershirt, and it zipped away smug, as you please. The next day, one crashed into the chicken coop, rattled the whole flock. When I pried it apart, I found a camera still rolling, recording my every move. They wanted a meltdown, something viral, angry rancher loses it, but I wasn't going to give them that. Instead, I started building. In the back of my garage, under a blue tarp, I had my old FAA signal analyzers, frequency scanners, even a prototype jammer we'd tested on the job, definitely not legal for civvies. But then again, I wasn't just a civilian. Over a week, I mapped out their flight patterns, learned their tricks. Sela always launched the lead drone. Susan followed with 2 more on autopilot. Military formations. They thought they were slick, so I programmed a trap. And then out of nowhere, the twins rolled up with a full film crew. 3 guys in branded sweatshirts, a girl with a gimbal. "You ready for your close-up, Mr. FAA?" Sila yelled. "We're shooting the pilot episode of Drone Justice. You just made the season finale." They laughed like laws were a joke, but I was already streaming their feeds to a secure FAA database. With every illegal flight, they were digging their own grave. That night, I baited them, rigged up a fake comms tower near the barn with PVC, and red LEDs look suspicious as hell, especially to people who don't know real radio tech. Sure enough, next morning, their beefiest drone ever showed up, 4K thermal cam and all. I was ready. I hit my jammer a short controlled burst, enough to scramble the drone's homing without crashing it. The thing wobbled, spun, then nosedived into the dirt behind my barn. 10 minutes later, Sila and Susan were at my gate, faces red, shouting that I'd destroyed their $10,000 drone. "You're pressing charges." I just stood there in my old bomber jacket, goggles perched on my head, and smiled. "You know my name. Why not check the FAA registry?" Their confidence cracked. "You're bluffing. Try me." That night around 2 a.m., a single drone floated out to my fence line and landed itself like a white flag. The next morning, for the first time in weeks, the sky was mine again. Quiet, clean, just wind and cattle and space. But I knew it wasn't over. People like Sila and Susan, they don't quit, they regroup. 3 drone-free days passed. Then, sure as taxes, they rolled back in a black cargo van with their new channel logo splashed on the side, Drone Queens Live, exposing secrets from the sky. They'd upgraded everything, bigger drones, bigger crew, military-grade rotors. They were going all in. They streamed. The Invasion Live taunted me through a bullhorn, set up 10 drones, launched them in waves. It was chaos drones, swooping cattle, scattering. I walked calmly to the barn, flipped the switch on my jammer, slid the goggles over my eyes, FAA badge gleaming. Hit the button. 5 drones spiraled down instantly. Others lost power. One even crashed in a fiery burst behind my cornfield. Sila screamed. Susan panicked. The crew scrambled, live comments rolling. Drone queens got grounded. And then just as the chaos peaked, two unmarked SUVs pulled up. FAA enforcement. My old colleague stepped out, started reading a laundry list of violations, unlicensed equipment, unauthorized flight, illegal live streams, the whole shebang. Susan tried to plead Sela. Just glared, but it was over. They confiscated everything, even the van's Wi-Fi. The Drone Queen's channel vanished overnight. Sponsors dropped them. Lawsuits stacked up. Their fame turned to infamy, and the internet didn't let them forget it. That evening, I stood on my porch with my coffee, watching the sky finally return to what it was, free, wild, and mine. I burned the remains of their flagship drone in the old barrel, felt the weight lift off my chest. Local news ran the story, FAA Sting Rancher saves the day. My name stayed out of it just the way I like. And you know what? For a while, peace held. Until right as the stars came out, something landed soft in my yard, a little pink plastic drone glued to a card. Nice win, Sky Dad. You got us. For the first time in weeks, I just laughed long loud, didn't even care who heard it. Maybe they finally learned about gravity. Or maybe out here justice has its own way of coming back around. So tell me, what would you have done? Did justice win, or did we just start another round of this crazy drone war? Leave your take in the comments. I'm real curious to know where you draw the line between right, wrong, and wild.